All right. Space and Rocket Review. You two girls, tell your friends. Space and Rocket Review. How's everybody doing? I'm EJ, and this is the EJ's Space and Rocket Review, where we talk about what's going on in the space flight industry as of January 6, 2026. I actually just finished eating dinner, and I did not even take a drink. Give me 1 second before I burp in your face. Oh, well, that's great. Ah, the meatloaf. It's frozen. It's frozen solid. I left this outside. This damn Canadian water. There's some liquid in there, I think. Let me put that by the space heater. Probably tastes like moose piss as well. Yeah, right? It's telling you to go get a beer instead. Hey, Endoclone, how are you? First space news of 2026. You need a beer first, then water. That's only if I have a problem. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. Gonna put that water next to the space heater. Ugh. All right. So let me start up the space news. I am the problem. All right. So focus time. Do not distract. No, I'm good. I'm just reading this real quick because I have to get caught up on space news. I'll you know what? I'll just read it with you, dudes. So check this out. This is a space news article coming from Jeff Faust here. This is about the minibus appropriations package here, which I have a copy of right here. And it does provide funding for NASA. So get this, dudes. No problem, then go get a beer and start one? All right, fine. Have it your way. This is pretty good news for NASA, dudes, by the way. Yeah, this is pretty good news, dudes. Here. Ah! Oh, man, that's so tasty. Oh, I scuffed it. Never mind. Anyway, so let's take a look here. The minibus appropriations package released by January 5th by the leaders of the House and Senate Appropriations Committees combines these bills, including the Commerce, Justice, and Science Bill that funds NASA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, and the National Science Foundation. The minibus provides $24.4 billion for NASA in fiscal year 2026, slightly less than the $27.875 billion the agency received in 2024. And again in 2025 under a full year continuing resolution. Okay. That total, though, is far higher than the $18.8 billion requested for NASA in the administration's fiscal 2026 budget proposal released in May. The White House proposal called for cuts of nearly 50% to both science and space technology, along with smaller reductions to space operations and aeronautics. The proposal would have canceled dozens of missions. Yeah. All right. See? Okay, so when this budget proposal was first proposed from the president, this was, I believe, like 8 or 9 months ago, dudes. When it was first proposed by the president, I said there's no way it's going to stick. There you go. There you go, dudes. There ain't no way it's going to stick. No way. No, nobody wants this. Nobody's going to give up riding the gravy train, dudes. No way. And there you go. And guys, before everybody says like, dude, this is everyone in Congress agreed to this, at least from a majority, to pass this in the House of Representatives and the Senate. I am the Senate. Sorry, I just feel obligated to say that. Too much pork barrel there to stop it. Well, yes and no, Wayfair. Yes and no. To be 100% honest with you, I thought it wouldn't stick just because of normal congressional stuff, like what you're saying. Stuff, for lack of a better word. However, I think the stakes have changed. And why do I think that? Oh, hold on. I got a message. Might be important. It's football news, but I'll tell you guys later. We'll stay on topic for space news. We can discuss football maybe as a footnote on the end of our space and football foot review. It is serious, yeah. But I said I would commit to staying on track, and that's what we're doing. So 9 months ago, I would have said it's probably just standard congressional stuff. There's no way Congress is going to allow it. That's kind of a ridiculous budget proposal. Now, 2 things. I think things have changed. The reason why I think things have changed is more or less because Jared Isaacman's nomination was pulled and then it was reinstated. Jared Isaacman's vote to be NASA administrator passed with a supermajority in the Senate, meaning that over 60, let's just say 2/3. All right, it was 67%. But we'll say 2/3. Over 2/3 of U.S. senators approve of him being NASA administrator. And I think that's very important to understand. Now, to be honest, I don't think the bill would have stuck either way, even if he didn't have his nomination pulled. But I do think the game has changed a little bit. I think the game has changed a little bit because, well, what has changed from 8 months from now? We have a plan. There's a plan for NASA. 2028, moon base, baby. And here's the money to do it. This is what I was trying to tell people when Jared got confirmed as NASA administrator, as the 15th administrator of NASA. This is what I was trying to tell people. He has a supermajority in Congress. The vast majority of Congress like him. That's important to understand. That's a James Webb scenario, if I'm going to attribute to other NASA administrators. James Webb was the administrator of NASA. During the Apollo program. Congress liked him. That's something to really, really take into account. Now, like I said, the president proposed a 75% reduction on the Science Mission Directorate. I'll tell you right now, when that was proposed, I will tell you there's no way that that's going to stick. There's no way. But if we're going to just talk about space policy for a second here, there's no way that they didn't know that. All right? There's no way that they didn't know that. Sometimes in politics, because it's so bass-ackwards, to say the least, you lowball people and you get them to overreact and overfund stuff. Oh, well, I might cancel this program. No, you're not going to cancel that. You're not going to cancel that. We're going to give it more money. Look, we're going to give it even more money. Oh, no, all right. I'm pretty sure that that's what's going on here. And I think that that money is going to be allocated to NASA to A, keep the science missions going, but B, start working on filling out the president's goal. The president released a national policy directive last month to get back to the moon in 2028 and build a nuclear-powered moon base by 2030. You are not doing that without the Science Mission Directorate, guys. So you're not doing that without them. I'm sorry. You need scientists to do science things with nuclear power. When is the last time a presidential budget proposal stuck? The Apollo program, most likely. Door to the face technique, correct. So, guys, long story short, this is good news. That's good news. That's really good news. That's really good news. NASA funding is safe for now. If anything, if we're going to do what the president wants to do, and the administrators carrying out the will of the president when it comes to NASA, and the vast majority of Congress likes him enough to get a supermajority in the Senate, we're in for some fun here, man. We're in for some real fun. This could get real good real fast. Think about it for a second. This could get real good really quickly. It's still only a $24 billion budget overall. Yippee. I'd be curious to see what the cost allocation is, Hellfish. And also, this is only the beginning. I'm not as optimistic, but I'll keep your reasons off the chat. Okay. Can you give me, Oculix, can you just give me like a little bit of optimism? Just like maybe a little smile, like maybe just a just a little, just a smidgen, maybe just a micron of a smile. You'll get it in DMs. I'm not. That's been happening for years, man. That's been happening for years. It goes both ways. It's a two-way street, dude. Rick is the first NASA administrator to be born after the shuttle started launching. That's weird. As a Brit, there's not much to be optimistic about. Dino, fellas, look, do I know? All right, just answer. Just answer me straight up. Do I know a lot about the space program? Do I know a lot about space policy? Answer honestly. Don't say no. You know the answer is yes, you schmucks. I'm telling you that this is good news. Listen to me. I said that this budget wasn't going to stick, and it didn't. Okay? I'm good at this space policy stuff. I'm good at it. Okay? I depends on which specific niche. Man, why you guys gotta take me down a peg or two all the freaking time? Damn you. No, this is good news, dudes. All right, let's see how it's allocated. All right, I have the bill up here. I'm just a bill. Dang it, Bobby. I deal with the space policy so the chatters don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people? Habit boss. Sorry, not sorry. Shut up, you stupid 20-inch cannon. It's up your butt. NASA. You don't own space. NASA does. All right. There is hereby established in the Treasury of the United States Fund to be known as the National Aeronautics and Space Administration Non-Recurring Expenses
Science,
Fund.
Schmians, when are we getting a lunar book?
When will you learn that your actions have consequences? All right. Unobligated balances of expired discretionary funds appropriated for this or any succeeding fiscal year from the general fund of the Treasury to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration by this or any act may be transferred not later than the end of the 5th fiscal year after the last fiscal year for which such funds were available for the purpose of which appropriated. What? Call the Bondulins Stronking. Okay, where's the next NASA? None of the funds made available by this act may be used for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration or the Office of Science and Technology Policy, OSTP, to develop, design, plan, promulgate, implement or execute a bilateral policy, program, order, or contract of any kind to participate, collaborate, or coordinate bilaterally in any way with China or China-owned companies, unless such activities are specifically authorized by a law enacted after a date of the enactment of this act. China, West Taiwan. Okay, yeah. Some Hatch Act. No, not Hatch Act. Hatch Act? I forget. Whatever. None of the funds, maybe. Okay, all right. Yeah, no Chinese people. Yeah, we got that. Here, let's go up to the top and just National Aeronautics. All right. Title 3, Science. OSTP, Office of Science and Technological Policy. For necessary expenses, the Office of Science and Technology Policy, in carrying the purpose of the National Science and Technology Policy, Organization Priorities Act of 1976, 42 United States Code 6601, etc. Hire of passenger motor vehicle services authorized by Section 3109 of Title 5 United States Code not to exceed $2,250 for official reception and representation expenses and rental conference of rooms in the District of Columbia. $7.965 million. NASA can only spend so much money on parties? Or motor vehicles. It's all right. Jared Isaacman has better ways to fly anyway. Or better ways to move around. All right. NASA Science. For necessary expenses not otherwise provided for in the conduct and support of science research and development activities, including research development. Okay, where's the good stuff? 7.2 billion to remain available until September 30th, 2027, provided that amount made under this hearing, the total amount specified in the table under this heading in the explanatory statement described in Section 4 shall be for the purposes in and not less than the amount of such of each. Okay, so 7.2 billion for science, for NASA's Science Mission Directorate. Aeronautics. 935 million for the aeronautics program at NASA. Space technology gets 920 million. Okay. Exploration technology, 7.7 billion. That's this is SLS and stuff. Space operations. So space operations is like TDRS, the ISS. 4.175 billion. Okay. This is NASA STEM engagement. $143 million for STEM engagement, NASA security and mission services. $3 billion. Interesting. That, if available, balance in the Science, Space, and Technology Education Trust Fund are not sufficient to provide for the grant disbursements required under the third and fourth provisions under such heading in the Department of Housing and Urban Development Independent Agencies Appropriations Act of 1989, Public Law 100-404. As amended by the Department of Veterans Affairs and Housing and Urban Development and Independent Agencies Appropriations Act 1995, Public Law 103-327. Up to $1 million shall be available from amounts made under this heading to make sure that grant disbursements provided further that the amounts appropriated under this heading will be $58,417,135 shall be made available for this space, science, and projects in the amount specified in the table. Construction, environmental compliance, and restoration, $185 million. OIG, $46.5 million. Why such a specific number of money? It's probably determined from operating costs. I'm not exactly sure what the heck this means. What this section is. Safety, security, and mission services. I'm not 100% sure I understand. Or no, yeah, that one. They're talking about Veterans Affairs and Housing and Urban Development. That's very... I don't understand what that means. I'll have to look into it more. Administrative provisions, including transfer of funds. Not to exceed 10% of every appropriation made for the current fiscal year. Okay. Any funds transferred to the construction and environmental compliance and restoration for construction activities shall not increase that account by more than 20%. Balances so transferred shall be merged with and available for the same purposes in the same time period as the appropriations to which transferred. Any transfer pursuant to this provision shall be treated as a reprogramming of funds under Section 505 of this Act and shall not be available for obligation except in compliance with the procedures set forth in that section. Interesting. Huh. I mean, that's just for administrative provisions. But if I'm reading this correctly, that means it's a consolidation of NASA's pocketbooks. Like it's a consolidation of NASA bank accounts, so to speak. Yeah, probably, Aqualex. Yeah. Last boss for the basic translation of this. Oh, you got it all figured out before I finished reading it, huh? Basically, if any government program underspends on its promises, NASA gets the money. When was the last time a government program underspent? Tessa, it's very interesting that they did something I've noticed, dude, and I've read a lot of NASA bills. I've read a lot of NASA appropriations, Authorization Act, etc., etc. Dude, this seems to be very explicit about what you can and can't do with that money. That's not something I've very much seen in the past. Interesting. I'm almost wondering if, in some areas, there is exemption of transfer of, not exemption, there's not exemption of transfer of funds, which means that it's kind of, you could spend it how you want to. Very interesting. Very interesting that they'd include that nomenclature in this bill, if I'm understanding this correctly. That's weird. Well, not weird. That's just not something I'm used to seeing. You usually have very explicit purposes for this. Not, in some cases, some of this funding is transferable, which is... Huh. Most budget bills are like that. Dude, I must be remembering incorrectly because I could have sworn I haven't seen it this kind of cursory in a long time. Does this mean that, for example, the DoD doesn't use the $2 billion for something, NASA would get it? I don't think it works like that, William, because commerce, justice, and science funding is not funded. It's not serving under the Department of Homeland Security, which is basically the Department of Defense or War or whatever the hell you want to call it. That one. That's a different department. Why racing rig for space news? I don't feel like moving it and unplugging it because we're just going to play some winter car again. Spending plan required by this act shall be provided by NASA. Spending plan as well. No more than 20% of 50 million, whichever is less. The amounts made in the current year construction, environmental compliance, and restoration appropriation may be applied to. Interesting. But it said it was any government program. Yeah, well, Leon, yeah, it did, didn't it? That's very strange, dude. I don't really see the opportunity for transferable funds. Interesting. I'm gonna have to ask around, dudes, to see if if we're understanding this correctly. Because Wooly and dude, what if the you think Congress would do that? You think they'd skim off the top of the DoD and give it to NASA to help with the Artemis program, especially if the Artemis program is under, I did say they are different departments, but I guess it said any department, right? You're not wrong. You can't just move funds allocated from one of these sections to another. Yeah, but John, it just said that you can. Interesting. Maybe that's how they're going to get the money to do this. Who knows? Research and related activities. Yeah, John, that's what I'm saying. And it was only under the administrative section, but it said that you could transfer stuff. So, like, it's discretionary to the administrator, which is weird. I must be misunderstanding this. That doesn't sound right. Interesting. Yeah, exactly. There's also that. In Vandenberg, I took money from NASA to renovate some offices. Really, Beck? Interesting. This is what I did for a living for about 10 years, was a government correspondent for various newsrooms and the Associated Press for a short time, aka sift through the bull snot. Yeah, that's really, dude, that's very interesting. That one seems to be, I think it would have been discretionary spending for just the administrator, which is okay, or just the top echelons of NASA. I'm not sure if that necessarily applies to like the science mission directorate for what it's worth. Now, do I think that that's a good idea for the NASA administrator to have a little bit of discretionary spending? Sure. I think that's a great idea. But it's a double-edged sword, right? It always is. That's cool though, John Doe. That's pretty sick, man. I didn't know that. If you want to help me analyze this stuff, please, I could use it. There's a lot of legalese in there, and I try to, try to explain it, guys. The thing to understand about legalese is that it's very deliberately wrote that way. It's deliberately written in such a way to make it very clear that this is the explicit purpose of this text. It really can't be interpreted in any other way, shape, or form. You got to remember that when you read legalese. There's a lot of big words in there and a lot of sentences that kind of are spoken in a way that really leaves it not up for interpretation if you understand what they're trying to say. It's word engineering, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Artemis program is under the same amount of political pressure as the Department of Defense right now. Yeah. Legalese is programming code for social constructs. Hey, Aqualex, your Portland is showing. I'm just messing with you, dude. I'm just messing. Relax. No, I get what you're trying to say, dude, for real. Well, we're just going to have to see how this all pans out, dudes. That's good, though. Good funding for NASA. I thought that was just nerd. Could be a little bit of that, too. This is FIA levels of rulemaking. Bro, the FIA wish they could be this bureaucratic, Tessa. Sorry. Actual action will say more than the document. Agreed, Cirrus. Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. But NASA has the cash to keep going, which is great. That's huge. That's a really good thing, dudes. Speaking of stream robots, whatever happened to Thomas? Thomas went down the political rabbit hole last time I checked. The security section seems ambiguous from what I heard, and it is a large amount of funds comparatively. That section is worth looking into. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what constitutes security, John, right? If I had to throw my hat into the ring, I'll bet you it's cleaning up loose ends. Not like that. Cleaning up leaks. Enforcement of ITAR, if I had to guess. Redoing NASA's security systems to be updated more and basically be airtight so you can't hack them and stuff. That's probably what that's for, which is not a bad thing. Thomas from NSF? No, not Thomas Berghardt. Thomas works out in the industry. He works out of the industry, dudes. He's on the other side of the fence. So with this minibus, Dragonfly is getting money and Mars sample return isn't. It didn't really go into how money is going to be allocated. No good. It was very much just money for each mission directorate. Never go down the political road. It's a one-way street, and you're guaranteed to be driving the wrong way. The only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of chess? Shall we play a game? Greetings, Professor Falcon. Page 138 is the breakdowns. Ah. Oi. Thanks, mate. Page 138. Oh, this is why this didn't flag, because it's, yeah, tables. All right, let's see what we got. Appropriations 2025, 2.8. Committee recommendation 2.8. Okay. Man, this takes me back to the old KSP TV days. All right. I don't think, King, I don't think they're going to go that crazy. I just think that NASA, look, I saw a machine shop. So I saw somebody took a picture of a machine shop at NASA Ames for NASA, and it was all manual equipment. There were no CNC machines. If that machine shop, comparatively to like what a modern machine shop looks like, if that is somewhat analogous for NASA's security systems or cybersecurity systems, oh dear, you're probably gonna need to fix that. Seriously though. The NASA Ames machine shop looks sick, though. There was Bridgeports everywhere, and I'm like, You're a lucky dog. You know, why shouldn't NASA have the best cybersecurity, right? Like, just saying. Hey, sometimes old Tula is the best. You're getting no argument from me. If they, maybe I'm just jealous and maybe I want one. Actually, if it's analogous, it's probably safe at this point. Yeah. I mean, you guys got a good point. Maybe that's why they did it. In which case, nice. Nice. All right, let's check the appropriations. Let's see what we got here. National Aeronautics and Space Administrations in thousands of dollars. Okay. Earth Science, 2.1 billion. Planetary Science, 2.5. Astrophysics, 1.6 billion. Heliophysics, 887 million. Biological and Physical Science, 90 million. Total Science, 7.3 billion. All right. 950 for Aeronautics, 975 million for Space Technology. Interesting. Okay. 7.78 billion for Exploration. Okay. Keep an eye out on Gov deals. Yeah. Space Operations, STEM, grand total 24,899. Okay. Here we go. Hubble, James Webb, LISA, Nancy Grace Roman, Habitable Worlds Observatory. Helioswarm is on there. Okay. Okay. Interesting. A proliferated solar satellite constellation, if I'm remembering correctly. Dragonfly, baby. 500 mil. All right. Why is technology and exploration separate? I don't know. Let's find out. Veritas and Da Vinci too. Yeah. Exploration. Orion 1.4 bill, SLS 1.3. Dragonfly is lunar science and not planetary science. What? No way. No freaking way. They did the thing. Bro, they did the thing. How, how do we screenshot? I know it's print screen. How do you get the selector thing up? How has nobody caught this? Windows Shift S. Thank you. Stand back, boys. We're making a meme. Stand back, boys. Stand back. We make memes today. Get it to Isaacman. Oh, do you want me to CC him on the tweet? Be like, yo. Helpful arrow meme. Yep, exactly. So I was looking through the NASA minibus document and found that NASA spends a lot of money on lunch. Good. This is Tweets with EJ. John Young would be proud. John Young would be proud. On lunches in space. Tag Jared. All right. Are we good? We good? Are we going to send this? Are we going to send it? That's one expensive lunch. John Young would be proud. Tag Mark Kelly? No, I'm not doing that. Last pulls. Can you link the document? Yeah, here. What page is it on? Page 151. It's so close, right? All right, are we good? Do it. Sent. Urgent. Lunchbox. Oh my god. All right. We'll put that one out into the aether and see what happens. It's no longer boots on the moon, it's footlongs on the moon. Oh god. He's gonna look at that and be like, I hate this guy. Did we basically just grammar Nazi'd him? Well, actually, lunch. Whatever. It's 2026. We're gonna manifest the fun, okay? DoorDash to Tranquility Base here. My phone's gonna freaking blow up now. All right. I think we've looked through that enough. Here. Do you know how much Uber Eats charges to deliver to the ISS? Yes, actually. I mean, random. Do you Uber? I mean, it is a contracted service like Uber, but it's not Uber. It's SpaceX, and they charge about like 200 million. Like, if you really want to know, like, I mean, that you can't go to the moon and not have lunch. Just saying. Like, you can't, you gotta eat. Hot and fresh on the ISS. Yeah, let's go. That's my new album coming out. Per launch cost about 200 million. Dragon is more expensive to send into space than you might think, King. Even the uncrewed variants. There's a lot more mission operations. You got to remember contracted service. Well, I mean, it is firm fixed price with NASA. So I know it's about 250 million to send 4 up there with some supplies. Cargo Dragon is probably a little bit less. It's probably not 200 million. It's probably less than that. But still, it's not 60 million either. 60 million. Falcon 9 with the $60 million price tag is a cargo fairing and a payload, not Dragon. Dragon operations are more expensive because it's a more complicated vehicle than a satellite, right? Remember the old days when NASA used to provide the crew menus for the shuttle flights? Yeah. How many Starship delivery robots fit inside of a Starship payload bay? A lot. I was wondering what the per lunch cost was. Oh, I did the thing. That's a lot of corned beef sandwiches. All right, we'll keep that tweet in the back burner. So, guys, very interesting thing here. We were talking about the spending and appropriations, and I say to stay positive, at least as best as you can. Stay positive. I think that spaceflight is a high priority of this administration. To be 100% honest with you, that's not me grandstanding. I think it is. What the reasons? Don't know, but it is. We could just tell by how these kind of events are transpiring here. Now, if you're not familiar, 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the United States. The United States was founded on July 4th, 1776, when the Continental Congress issued a Declaration of Independence to the British Empire, declaring the 13 colonies sovereign from the king. All right, we're 250 years in. We're doing all right, given the circumstances. But check this out. This is the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. They posted they're projecting an image on the Washington Monument of the AXEMU with an American flag on the surface of the moon. So that's what I mean, dudes. This is what I mean. Yeah, I get it. It's just a picture. I understand. Talk is cheap. You're absolutely right. But also at the same time, I think that it's very interesting that they'd show that. I think that space flight is a high priority for this administration. I think it's a high priority for us as a country right now. And I think we're going to do it. We have a goal. Let's get it done. This is only the beginning, dudes. Yeah, you could say that it's just, business as usual, et cetera, and that the president's budget of 18 billion was never going to stick. That's absolutely right. But I think I think priorities have changed. I think we're going to get back to really taking space seriously again, at least at the government level, which is pretty good, man. Make a gas. Damn, dude. Yeah, you can have a spare as a treat. Let's not get too crazy, all right? So I think that's pretty cool. I made it a thing to show you guys that. That's the Washington Monument. Look, they're posting it. That's the AXEMU. That is not an A7L. That's not the Apollo program. It is not. The A7L has anodized fittings. That's Axiom's EMU. That's the spacesuit that we're going to land people on the moon with on Artemis 3, which is very interesting. Like I said, I think they're going to make it a priority, and I think good things are going to happen. I hope. They also put the Saturn V on there and SLS. Yep, that's right. Your right channel is going mute. Oh, sorry. Let me just balance it out for you right there. There we go. Nice and balanced. After years of testing, NASA confirmed that the Space Lunch System is still not edible. Oh dear. It works out about $435,000 per launch, assuming an average of 8 astronauts on the ISS, assuming it's just for lunch. $109,000 if it's per meal. That's an expensive lunch. That's a big Twinkie. Yeah, Beats, we got some serious plans, dude. I'm in. Let's go. All right. My one thing, if we're going to be skeptical at all, my one thing is talk is cheap. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Sounds like a Twinkie the size of Manhattan. That's a big Twinkie. Tell them about the Twinkie. Jared's plane's got a NASA paint job. Oh, I already have that teed up, Trey. Don't you worry. So Jared Isaacman, a little while back, the NASA administrator, purchased a couple of F5s, a single seat and twin seat F5s from somewhere. But they have a new paint job because he's the NASA administrator, and our NASA administrator literally just tools around in a fighter jet because stop calling him the NASA administrator. Start calling him the Emperor of the Galaxy. I must say, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I mean, serious, this melon farmer is playing GTA in real life, dude. He's just playing GTA. Yeah, I'm searching around for the fighter jet that best suits my needs. The Fade. The Fade is pretty... Don't love it, don't hate it. I mean, personally, an F-14 painted like that, I would be kind of all about. But, you know. Somebody spelled it Space Lunch System. God damn it. You know the intern that did that's going to get canned if somebody important sees this tweet, right? We may or may not have just gotten somebody fired. Sorry. It was funny. We did it for the memes. No axe to grind. We did it for the memes for what it's worth. It was for the lulz, I swear. Yeah, here we go. You might not like the company in the picture, but there's some better shots of the paint job. The worm logo on the tail. I'm about that life. Oh yeah. You want an F-14, you need to get in touch with Iran. They still only have... They're the only ones that have airworthy F-14s? No, they don't. No, they don't. They did. They don't anymore. No, not anymore, they don't. I mean... It killed me to see that. Like, killed me to see it. I was not happy about it, but also Oh, that is money, dude. Look at that thing. That's what I'm talking about. That is very nice. Isaacman Bridenstine 2028. I like that paint job. I like the worm logo in space and the original logo on the front with the original NASA paint scheme. That's super cool. The only way it could have been better is if it faded white to blue to black. Yeah. Can we have this paint scheme on a truck, please? Yeah. That's not a bad idea, dude. That is very nice. Colors flying in protocol. Yep. That's Is that a German flag above the worm? No. No, that's some of the beacon lights, dude. If I'm looking at that correctly. I don't know F5s too well. And I'll be 100% honest with you. I have no idea what the difference between a twin seat F5 and a T38 is. I really don't understand the differences here, but there obviously is a difference because they're called two different things. Need to make that livery for the DCS F5. And then we need to all fly it around in flight sim. You holy shnikes. That's a good idea, dude. Oh, I like that, Nader. That's a good idea. Is there a 2024 F5? I don't know, dude. Maybe. That's a good idea. It's the T-38 is lack of armament, smoother wing routes, and focus on high-speed training. Oh, so it is weapons pylons. That's what somebody said the other day, and that makes more sense. T-38 doesn't have any arming systems. The T-38 also doesn't have radar. Okay. Okay. All right. Dude. Oh, that's a sweet paint job, dude. I'm about it. Take me on your mighty wings. Take me on your mighty wings and fly. But down, bow, 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 bow. Wait a minute. That has an arrestor hook. Avgeeks, explain. Why does it have that? Hey, nice. That's the better Top Gun song. Mighty Wings, my Cheap Trick, dude. It's for emergency arrestment. Okay. Why not? Well, the arrestor hooks are usually reserved for planes that land on aircraft carriers. It's an oh crap arrestor hook. Okay. USAF aircraft have arrestor hooks for emergency landings. However, they will damage the airframe if it's used. That's what I'm wondering. They have arrestor hooks, but they aren't the same as the Navy's. Okay. It's the oh crap hook. The old Jesus handle. All right. I was going to say, so based off of your replies, guys, I was going to say, could you land an F5 on an aircraft carrier? And the answer sounds like yes, you could. Once. Yep. You guys get it. you could. Once. Okay. Good to know. Wait a minute. Hold up. Basically, SLS Orion is unaffordable. I'm going to say it. If SLS is not the right tool for the job NASA needs to go to the moon, it's too slow, too costly. If we can get a bit steady, the problem is the only tool NASA actually has. Well, they could eat it. And that might, you know, work. No, Mac watches the stream. That's the only reason. Mac watches the stream. I know that, dude. Wait, we have to use a we could eat it, and that might, work. I know that guy. That guy's cool. He's a buddy of mine. He's a friend of the stream, so it's all good. I'm just gonna troll him back a little bit. There's a paid T-38 in Flight Simulator. T-38 Talon has been released for MF Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Can we do liveries for that? They took my launch money. That would have been good, yeah. Like we have a better option at the moment? We will in the future, guys, but I'm not... Look. Okay, jokes aside, like, I'm not going to be satisfied. Like, is SLS old school tech? Yes, it is. Is it the best way to get to the moon? No, probably not. Blue Origin is working out a much better architecture, to be 100% honest with you. And SpaceX as well with Starship, like, right? Obviously. Those two architectures by themselves, heck, even ULA's Cislunar 1000 architecture or Lockheed Basecamp is better than, in my mind, right? But also at the same time, I'm not surrendering a working launch vehicle for a promise. I don't give a frick how certain it seems. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Every time we've done that, we ended up not flying people to space for a long time. In 1975, the Apollo-Soyuz test project, July of 1975, they said, oh, the shuttle's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. Everything will be good. It'll be flying by the end of the decade. Oops. Nope. Nice try. We surrendered orbital and super heavy launch capability, which is the dumbest thing we could have done, in favor of a potentially cheaper reusable option. That did not come around in 1979, and we lost Skylab because of it. Shuttle didn't fly until April 12th, 1981, when STS-1 took off. All right. Same thing with ending the shuttle program itself. We ended the shuttle program itself. Oh, we're going to get commercial. Commercial will be flying soon. Commercial will be flying soon. It's a firm fixed price program. It won't take very long. It took a decade, and we arguably got something that is not nearly as capable on orbit as the space shuttle. And that's not a slight towards Dragon by any means. Dragon is way cheaper, but it also does way less than the shuttle. Something to think about. Is it way safer than the shuttle? Empirically, yes, absolutely. What am I getting at? Do not retire something, no matter the cost, no matter whatever, no matter how expensive it is, until you have the other thing working and working operationally. I.e., SLS, in my mind, does not become truly redundant until Starship or Blue Moon, the Blue Moon program, puts people on the surface of the moon by themselves. Does that make sense? Other than that, careful, don't do that. You know why? Because it's not some kind of axe to grind. It's not that I like SLS or I hate commercial or this or that. It's always going to take longer than you think. Why? Because it always takes longer than you think, unless you have a blank check like the Apollo program. So unless NASA's budget doubles next year for the, incoming Artemis program, I doubt that, which I doubt is going to happen. But that, dude, stranger things have happened. Stranger Things just ended. No spoilers. Don't surrender this tech for a promise. Every time NASA does that, they get the shaft. I will vehemently fight for SLS's existence until Starship puts people on the moon or Blue Moon Mark 1 or 2. I don't care. One or the other. As long as we have another way to do it, as long as that capability is redundant, then I'm good. I would actually, if I'm going to be really honest with you, I would actually argue that having redundant dissimilar architecture to get to the moon is a very robust and stable architecture. So let's say SpaceX and Blue, both landing people on the moon, which I think is a very doable thing by the end of the decade. Getting rid of SLS now would not only prolong our lunar landings, but also would prolong our lunar landings and set us back. It really would. For this crazy price tag that SLS actually has, it's worth it. It's worth it to get there. It's worth it to get there and set up shop. And then by the time the Chinese go and land over there, we have Pizza Huts down on the surface and jets and Little Caesars, right? Because it is a space lunch system after all. You weren't expecting that one, were you? Sorry. Sorry, my bad. How's that for bringing it all back, huh? You want a good example? The B-52. Yeah, there you go. Was about to ask if this is related to the space lunch system. Yes. NASA likes to eat food, apparently. Did you take your ADHD meds today? No, because I don't. I'm just trying to have more fun on stream. Is that fair? Am I not allowed to have fun? What is this, geek? Oh. Aerodynamics. The company's called Aerodynamics. Manilow. Barry's last name is Manilow. This is Wumbo maxing. Oh no. He replied and he still missed the point. Mac. All right, bro. You're not wrong, but it actually says in the table space lunch system. I'm sorry if you ever see this file. I'm sorry, man. I'm judged. Don't send it. No. I'm gonna be cool. Just leave it. No, I feel bad. Mac's my boy, dude. He's my boy. No. I'm gonna do it. He's a buddy of mine. I think. See. Yeah, no, he's a good friend. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that to my guy. I'm not gonna do that to my boy. He's good people. Well, I'm not gonna do a stupid Twitter argument. I'm not. I'm just. You know what? Let's go back to looking at the F5. All right, look at that. Look at that. Oh, also, just on a side note, dude, I was hearing that Jared Isaacman is going to donate his entire NASA salary to St. Jude. Nice. All right. Good call, man. I like you. You're all right. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I forget where I got that information, but I think it was a podcast that he was on or something. The T-38 does come with a white NASA livery. Oh, all right. Or no. Was it Space Camp? No, it was Space Camp. It wasn't St. Jude. I'm wrong. It was Space Camp. It was Space Camp. That's right. He said that in his congressional testimony. Thank you for jogging my memory. I'm 100% wrong. It was Space Camp, which is still cool. That's still cool. And let me point. But also, he did raise a lot of money for St. Jude. That's probably where I'm getting confused. This thread's getting out of hand. This thread is getting out of hand. Panta, why are you a parody? No wonder Pizza Hut sponsored the... Yes! Yes! See? It makes sense. That was good. That was good, Hakamaku. Good for you. That was nicely done. That was nicely done. That was way too easy. Aye. I took a shower and the tweet blew up. Yeah. Mac figured it out. He figured it out. He ain't wrong. He's not wrong, but he figured it out. Wait, that actually happened? Dude, look. This is the appropriations bill. What I'm imagining. To pay for SLS, NASA has agreed to let SLS be sponsored by Chick-fil-A. Oh, yes, the Lord's Chicken. Oh, I could go for some Chick-fil-A tendies right now. Not sponsored. They're really good. They're really good. It's different, though. It's not a chicken McNugget. That's a different thing. You know what I mean? Can we get Boeing to live up to the 30 minutes or it's free thing? I think it's 30 years or it's free. Yeah. Looks like this table was written by somebody at 11:59. Yeah. I do like Cane's too. I do like Cane's. Cane's is pretty good. I had Cane's for the first time when I was with Das in Texas, like in February of last year. It was tasty. Cane's was tasty. That was good chicken. It was yummy chicken. So NSF has got their bacon budget funding wish for this. Yeah. I mean, that would be the Space Breakfast System. That would be SBS. It's a different mission directorate. They're in Connecticut. Wouldn't be surprised if you see them in mass soon. Well, no, you got to understand, Canuck, that we're prudes. And unless it's artisanal, free-range, grass-fed, butt pipe chicken, then... With the exception of, like, McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King, because they paid enough to be here. You know how it is. Yes. Free-range, grass-fed, butt pipe chicken. Yep. You can get that at the corner store down the street. What? If you ever come back to Atlanta, come get some JJ chicken. It's got crack powder on it. Okay. All right. That's cool. We tagged the NASA administrator in that tweet, didn't we? Can I? Yeah, we tagged the NASA administrator. But that's what I mean. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid no more. 2023 EJ wouldn't have done that. 2023 EJ wouldn't have even posted that for fear of making a ruckus. No. We're wumbo maxing, damn it. I want to see this. What's this about? Does it have music? Yeah, that's probably going to get DMCA'd. So this is the Washington Monument. Where's the astronaut? That's the Continental Congress. That's the Declaration of Independence. That's Guy. That's not Guy. That's an anvil. That's the Empire State Building. Oh! Oh, yeah! Oh! Yes! 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 Sick! Oh, yep. Don't hate that. Don't hate that. What's up, Mike? I don't hate that. When was this? They do it every night, Beats, from what I understand. This is for America's 250th birthday. Oh. The Lem, dude. The Lem. And dude, see? Nah, that might be the A7L. It looked like the AXEMU, but now that I'm looking at it again, I don't know, maybe. It don't matter. It's still cool. Dude, it was for New Year's. Still, you know what? Whatever. It's still cool. This should be there, like, all the time. Can we call somebody? Can we just project the Saturn V onto the side of the... Can we do that? Is that possible? Bro. Oh. It's... The picture is skewed. But no, that's a huge launch escape system. I think last night was the last night for this display. They had huge fireworks. Cool. You know, while we're wumbo maxing, can we bring back neoclassical architecture, please? Can we bring back neoclassical? Is everybody cool with that? See, neoclassical architecture. I like that. That makes me happy. Yes. Yes. Neoclassical. Build stuff out of stone and bricks. Art Deco first. Okay. I do like Art Deco. Art Deco is peak rugged individualism. Beautiful. The right to manifest your own destiny. I love it. I love Art Deco. Art Deco makes me happy. Brutalism can get bent. Get bent, helmet. I can agree with neoclassical. All right, cool. So, okay, a little bit into the weeds, but there is a rocket on the screen, so give this to me. This architecture, neoclassical, is modern interpretation of classical architecture. So like ancient Rome, particularly Greece, actually, if we're going to be very technical on our anthropology here. Stop trying to find loopholes. Shut up. Boom. Now what? Now what are you going to do? All right, more space news. So, yeah, hopefully good things are going to happen with NASA. All right. So check this out, guys. Here's another one. Creeper linked this up here. We have completed the first of 9 satellite structures. Plane 1 of the 18 total satellites for the Space Development Agency's Tranche 2 tracking layer. The T2 TRK program achieved 3 months ahead of schedule. This milestone showcases our ability to meet key program milestones with efficiency and provision for delivery and readiness. They said that. They said this is Sierra Space. They said that in a tweet. Are you kidding me? Bro. You lie. Oh, nice, Zonku. That's awesome. What? You lie. Not true. What? Dude. Oh, wait, you serious? No, this shows you the real reason why Dream Chaser is a big cluster pile of poo-poo. Sierra Space is leaning into defense contracts. So basically the SDA pays better than NASA. I really, really, really hope that I was wrong about Dream Chaser never flying again. It's possible that it might fly soon for something. But NASA's basically washed their hands of that program. But these, the Space Development Agency's Trans 2 tracking layer program, oh, that's ahead of schedule. That's funny. Look, it's a box. I do like that welding table. Or the jig table. That is pretty cool. I could do with one of those. That would be really nice. It'd be really easy to mount frame rails on this thing and, build a car with one of these tables. If anybody could tell me where I could get these, particularly for the, price of on the house, I'd be really, really appreciative. AJ, nice box. Thank you. Can anybody tell me where all the money goes? That's right. It goes in the square hole. Trying to melt all the damn ice in this thing. I've been trying to drink this water for like 3 hours, all right? It's ice. Goddamn Canadian water. Just steal one. No. You know what? Nah, I'll just buy it. So what do we have here for the nerds? All right, so this is billet. Actually, hold up. Is it? Fellas, am I stupid or is that cast? I'm not seeing any machining marks. So this is billet. So that's billet aluminum right there. See that? See the machining marks? It looks like somebody took a marker and moved around. That's from what's called an end mill. An end mill on a CNC machine will machine this part out. I'm not seeing that on this. But, however, here's the thing. These parts are anodized. See this? See how this aluminum is like gold? It's been anodized for corrosion preventative. Cast with milled surface and holes. Possibly. Yeah. This one is coated with something else, but see, that's all anodized to prevent it's to prevent corrosion. Atlas, the Atlas V rocket that's why it has that like bronze sheen, because it's anodized 7000 series aluminum. But yeah, this is all on a jig table here. These jig pieces were all CNC laser cut. You can just tell because the cut marks are perfect on them. But yeah, that's the SAT bus. This is the satellite bus right here. It looks like it has a recess right there for if I had to guess, it's probably a solar panel. But yeah, pretty cool. And the welding table that it's on is fantastic. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful table. Corrosion in space, like there's so much air. Well, Jimmy, it's not necessarily about corrosion up there, even though that can happen if there's like a leak or something. It's more for down here. Anodizing the aluminum does not add that much mass. And anodization is, well, more expensive. It will give you a much better coat than painting it. The other thing that you see satellites painted is they're painted with the anti-corrosive paint that you see on airplanes, which is green. Anodization was probably cheaper for Sierra Space because they're probably anodizing other projects that don't work. No, I'm still bitter about that. I'm not changing my mind. Fly the damn thing. Corrosion prevention is important in space. Free oxygen. Yeah, that's true. Also, presence of monoatomic oxygen. I forgot about that, dude. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you guys are right. I totally forgot that. Yeah, see? There's just O. Oh. No, there is traces of oxygen up there. Have you talked about the NASA budget today? I did, Zach. Yeah, we talked. I spent the whole first segment of Space News talking about it, dude. Probably about the first hour, actually. Aluminum itself doesn't corrode. It just builds an oxidized layer. Yeah, that's true, Jimmy. But, satellites have a lot of sensitive equipment on it. You probably don't want, like, aluminum oxide just, like, floating around near that stuff. That's my guess. I mean, they anodized it for a reason, dude. Like, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that is anodized aluminum. It's anodized billet, if I'm looking at that right. NASA is spending a ton on lunches. Dude, Zach, you got to see this. You got to see this. I kid you not. They did the meme. NASA did the meme. Look, I posted about it on X. Look. Oh, okay, Lillian. Bro. They eat a lot. Yeah. Yep. Yep, that's where we're at. Okay. Oh, Sawyer replied to me. Oh, wait, no, that's a different thing. You tagged Sawyer? Okay. Okie dokie. Oh, no, Sawyer replied. Yeah, here we go. Like. Space news in 2026, now with 154% more crap posting on the internet. Cheers. If I recall correctly, the film on aluminum is to help make the spacecraft a grounding point. Oh, that's a good point, Sea Kraken. Yeah. Pure aluminum only builds up a passive layer. Not so with alloys, which are dissimilar metals by their very nature. Also, when stripped of their buddies, oxygen atoms lose their famous non-reactive attitudes. Great for credibility. I'm trying. Hey, nobody's perfect, man. Nobody's perfect, okay? I see it, Tessa. Oh my god. My notifications are going off, dude. The major purpose of anodizing is to improve the following properties in the metal that's been anodized. These properties include wear resistance, corrosion resistance, surface lubricity, heat dissipation, dielectric properties, adhesion, and aesthetics. So it works good and it looks good too? Nice. All right. Let's see. What else do we got? See, guys, stuff like this has a double thing, has a double meaning. What I would really hope is somebody that likes spaceflight will look through this and have a good laugh, and then go through this thread and have a good laugh too, because that's pretty damn funny. All right, the whole exercise here isn't to crap post so much, but also to, you know, try and make someone's day a little bit better. Either that, or we just got an intern that works somewhere in Congress fired. Like, it's one or the other. Either way, we're all gonna have a lot of fun, right? Anyway, all right. What else do we got besides Sierra Space's box? It's fine. Interns are renewable resources. Good point. All right. So let's see what's going on down in Starbase. Check this out. So my buddy Elisar got some captures here. This is from Starbase Live. Look at that thing. No, this is not somebody's Dwarf Fortress experiment, okay? It is an SPMT with the ship quick disconnect for that pad at Boca Chica. It's booking too. I think this footage is sped up because of the sirens. Here, let's go to like half speed and see if that's right. Nope, that's still way too fast. That's probably more right. Yeah, look, it's got its own stairs on it. Is that a quick disconnect for the launch pad? It's the ship quick disconnect, dude. The SQD for pad number 2, or that pad, or pad B, or whatever you want to call it. And look, it's already, so check this out. See all these pipes? They don't just look cool. Those are all the commodity lines, dudes. This thing is fully kitted out. It's not an empty shell. So how they did the other pad, so pad 1 at Boca Chica, how they hooked that thing up is they put an empty frame, a space frame up there, and then started modifying it up there. This thing is complete. It has the umbilical on it. See? That's Starship Block 3's umbilical. Note that it has twin carrier disconnect plates left and right. Why? Refueling, baby. See how big that umbilical plate is? It's gigantic. It has commodity inflow on the left, commodity outflow on the right. Because Starship's new umbilical is designed for moving fuel back and forth, in and out. Would you just look at it? Is that Space OSHA compliant? Nah, railings aren't the right color. Sammy Sposh is going to come and find you. Dude, we should play Satisfactory. We'll get back to it. I don't know when, but we'll get back to it. It's like shipyard construction. Build them in sections and piece them together. Yes. See, the sirens, actually, this might actually be too slow. That's right. Holy crap, dude. That thing is going fast. I want to, Hardium. I want to. Look at, see, all the hoses, all the lines, all the accumulators, they're all there. See these things right there? Those are, I'm pretty sure those are hydraulic accumulators, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what those are. No, you need to play Star Rupture. Was ist Stahlrupture? Mein Freund, was ist das? I don't know if you're German. I just felt like speaking German. Whatever. Yeah, Tessa, whatever. It's fine. That wasn't supposed to sound like I was throwing shade. I know, man. That is not the same design as Pad 1. No, completely different. And here's LSR's picture from this afternoon. LSR did a time lapse from Starbase Live. Don't worry, I'm here for the German things. Oh, wunderbar. Yeah, fellas, that is a completely different design. It's pretty. It looks very similar. Very similar, pretty much up to the point of attachment. Like this part up to where those dudes are standing. That seems right. Oh no, nope. That is scratch built. That is 100% a new design. Sorry, just how this all comes together. It's a scratch built design. You played Star Rupture the other day. It's pretty fun. You should play with us someday. All right. Yeah, that is 100% new. Dude, there is not much that Pad 2 has in common with Pad 1, dudes. There ain't much. Yeah, maybe the tower, and that's about it. The tower architecture. Up. Look at the dudes. See all the dudes up there? Look at that. Isn't that nice? That freaking pad is gigantic, man. I've seen the stupid thing. I've stood probably about a football field or a soccer pitch away from the base of that thing. It is huge. Dude, look, how about the guys on the man lift? Holy crap. What is this, a tower for ants? That's completely bonkers to me. And then Nile has another time lapse of it. You think we'll get flames being deflected into the air like the Saturn V? Absolutely. You're gonna have the double jet out each side, Joseph. Yep. You get nervous 50 to 60 feet up on those lifts. David, that quick disconnect tower is like 250 feet up. 25 stories that way. Yeah. Yes. Like, hang on. Let me calculate. So 250 divided by 3.3. 75 meters. Okay. Sweaty palms for sure. Those guys don't seem bothered by it, and I don't know how. I'm sorry, this thread is making me happy. What a crap post. What a crap post that is. How powerful would Starship V3 be with this new Raptor 3? Javine, they're looking for 100 metric tons to low Earth orbit, which is pretty good. I would hope so, Green. I would hope so. All right. A no payload V3 should be able to yeet off the pad then. They would probably throttle. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. You'd send it at full power and then throttle down. There you go, Bob. That'd be awesome, dude. Let's see. Quick question. How powerful? Okay, got that. Yeah, guys, once again, I want to point out, just on a quick side note, while we're talking about Starship architecture here real fast. 100 metric ton to low Earth orbit Starship, fully reusable, could put a 2-stage lunar lander into low lunar orbit and come back and land. You might have to refuel in low lunar, but also at the same time, it wouldn't be much. You wouldn't need much to refuel. I did the math out, guys. I don't think people really understand this. Like, main thing is to make sure you secure it before launching. Yeah, Derek. Yeah. You know, that's probably a good idea. Making sure your launch gantries are, tagged out before you go to launch the rocket, or else. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Given the current events. Just got here. Which question? Which company is likely the best candidate to make moon clothing for humanoid astronauts? Is the moon dust basically shards of glass? You need a motorcycle jacket or something? It's a good question, man. I'm sure NASA will do some research and contract that service out eventually when we get to that point. That'd be super cool. Space clothing. The little annoying voice that's in my head just said, merch idea, merch idea, merch idea. Space news. What's that, Josh? Aurora delivers critical component for Gateway. Let me see. What do we got? The PPRV and the MPV valves sense and release pressure buildup inside the module, enabling the astronauts to safely live and work inside the module orbiting the moon. Cool. My other t-shirt is my other work uniform is an EVA suit. Embrace that voice more. Which one? Oh, no. There's a lot up there. All right, let's see. Under a subaward from Thales Alenia Space Italia, Aurora Flight Sciences, a Boeing company, designed, built, and delivered the next generation positive pressure relief valves and manual pressure equalization valves and PV for the habitation and logistics outposts for the Gateway. Oh, nice. Wow, look at their bench testing system, huh? How many filters you need? All of them. Hang on one second. I gotta. Hey, all right. Guys, I just got a message from Bree. Titan's heartworm free. He still has baby heartworms in his blood, but those are easy to treat. Heartworm preventative will get rid of that, but he's heartworm free, dudes. Oh, Josh, I have the next bit of space news from Aurora. I'll check that in a moment. Oh. Yes. Wumbo maxing, baby. Let's go. Oh, that makes me so happy. Even Titan is Wumbo maxing. That's right. Manifest it. Let's go. Oh, that makes me so happy. For the people that don't know, Titan is my dog. Do you want to see? You want to see a picture of him? That's my dog. Oh. That's my buddy. He's a good boy. That's awesome. Buy him a duck's head. Titan cam soon. Yeah. I'll see if I have other pictures. Looks a little rough in that picture. Yeah, he'd be all right. Yeah, there's my boy. He's a good boy. He's free of adult heartworms, guys. So, yeah, he's all right. He still has the baby versions of the parasite, which is in his blood, but you can get rid of that with heartworm preventative, which is great. The previous Titan is a rescue, guys. He's not he's a rescue, and he had a previous home, and they did not give him any heartworm preventative. So, yeah, I don't like those people. But don't worry, the boy is safe with me. The doggo is safe with me. Your lab went to the vet today. 1-year-old, 72 pounds, all the energy. I've seen that often with rescues that you fostered, John. Yeah. 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 Good. Sorry, I know I'm trying to keep everything on an even keel here with space news and stuff, but I thought you guys would have a vested interest in that one. That makes me happy. Plans for this evening? My winter car, brother. All right, Josh, what else did you link up? Revolutionary X-plane takes shape from Aurora Flight Sciences, a Boeing company. The X-65 is designed to demonstrate active flow control, a technology that could transform the future of aircraft design. Excuse me, sir, you have a hole in those wings. How are they transmitted? Through certain foods? Ticks. Yeah, Murray, ticks. Yeah. Don't worry, we caught it, and yeah, he has no more adult heartworms, which means he can go out in the yard and play again. Ticks and mosquitoes? Yeah, I don't, yeah, maybe mosquitoes too, but yeah, that's good, man. Aurora Flight Sciences, a Boeing company, is building an X-plane designated the X-65 as part of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, program to gather flight test data on active flow control. AFC replaces the traditional control mechanisms like flaps and rudders with jets of air to control the aircraft's pitch, yaw, and roll. AFC is expected to improve aerodynamics and to reduce weight and mechanical complexity. In August of 2025, Aurora and DARPA finalized an agreement to co-invest in the completion of the first X-65, the control of revolutionary aircraft with novel effectors. That's a backronym if I've ever seen one. Crane program is now progressing towards completion of the fuselage in January 2026. Hey, look. Letters. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice picture. All right, cool. I'll just make this picture bigger. Yeah, see the green? That's the green paint on aluminum that I was telling you guys about. Also, are those Clecos? Are those Clecos? Yeah, Clecos. All right. Good luck with the dead stick, though. Yeah. Aurora previously completed its critical design review phases. The X-65 is purpose-built for design test rate flow control within 30-foot wingspan and 7,000-pound gross weight. The FC system supplies air to 14 AFC effectors embedded across all flying surfaces. The triangular wing design enables testing across multiple wing sweeps and is modular with replaceable outboard wings and swappable AFC effectors to allow for future testing of additional AFC designs. It has RCS on it. This is just, that's just RCS. Huh. Yeah, like you talking about dead stick landings. Yeah, where are they getting the bleed air from? Okay, all right. A little bit of a. We're gonna get into the technical weeds here too, but it's. So this plane has reaction control systems. Basically, it uses compressed air to steer. It uses RCS, like the cold gas thrusters on Falcon 9. Same idea. But to create bleed air, you need a compressor. You need a compressor to compress stuff at high pressure, to compress air at high pressure and put it into air tanks to be commanded by the computer to fire the thrusters wherever you need it to go. Falcon 9 does not have an intake on it. Falcon 9 just has compressed tanks of nitrogen. A Harrier uses this. Yeah, exactly, Tessa. A Harrier uses that the Harrier jump jet uses bleed air for reaction control systems and uses that to move around when it's in hover mode. Smart. The thing is that how are you going to compress the air in the event of an engine failure? When a plane goes out, if you're flying around in a Cessna and the engine shuts off, you could still fly it because you have control surfaces, right? That'll work whether the engine is on or off, right? That's dead sticking, basically. I'm wondering if now don't get me wrong, just because the engine is off doesn't mean there isn't ways to do it. This thing could use a ram air turbine, what's called a RAT, to generate electrical power to start an electric compressor in the intake. That could work. Or if you have a buffer tank, Tessa, yeah, that'll also work as well. RSTZ, 3-month resub. Thank you. I'm going to turn on Starbase Live so the headset audio doesn't time out. I failed my wombology exam. Shame. I'm going to have to ban you. Here I go. Here I go. Watch me. I'm going to ban you. I'm doing it. Also, an APU could work. Yeah, Tessa, a RAT, though, would basically be an APU. So are you familiar with what a RAT does, a ram air turbine? So the RAT is something that deploys from fighter jets in the event of, loss of power. And what this thing is designed to do, it opens into oncoming air and it spins this thing, and that thing generates, that RAT right there on an F-105 is hydraulic. It's designed to maintain, so you can use the hydraulic control surfaces. Looks like it is fully powered by an APU. Fully powered by an APU. RATs are also present on commercial airplanes. That's correct. Let me see. Cyborg, hold on. Oh, no, not the music. All right, cool. We're good. Control of revolutionary aircraft with novel effect. The X-65 demonstrates a fully integrated active flow control system. Oh, wow. Look at that. Whoa. Dude, linear aerospike RCS. Tell me I'm wrong. Oh God, she's naked. Yep, there's an APU right there. See that? That's the auxiliary power unit. And then your main propulsion is back here. And just as we thought, yeah, you guys are right. It's pulling bleed air from the APU. Nice. Nice. Yep. A ram air turbine would do the same thing. But yeah, it's APU. It's using an APU, and they seem to have triple redundant pitot sensors up at the front. These things are used for measuring airspeed. A lot of test vehicles that fly, like test flight vehicles, have multiple APUs to validate your what's called you have triple redundant APUs to validate your operational sensors. So you would have 3 of them, right, to make sure that it works. Right, that's the difference between like developmental flight instrumentation and operational flight instrumentation. You have your pitot sensor that will be on the final design, but you have 2 others next to it, right? And those 2 others that are next to it are going to make sure that the one in the center is working correctly. You have triple redundant data streams there. That's the difference between developmental flight instrumentation and OFI, operational flight instrumentation, for people that care about this stuff. I think that's cool. There's 3 of them. That's what the fork on the front of this thing is supposed to be. I think it works like a blown diffuser. That's exactly what it does. It is modulating the pressure on the different sides of the control surfaces. Pitot, P-I-T-O-T, pitot. Dave, it's French. It measures airspeed. That's what it does. So that's actually this is actually super interesting. Note how the pipes, see the bleed air pipes? They're wider right here, and they get smaller and smaller as they go further out. I said that a design like this is going to need a compressed air tank or something. In this design, it looks like Aurora just built the pressurization volume into the pipes to save mass. Rat wouldn't give you enough power, and bleed air isn't that high pressure, so it normally doesn't get stored. Think more like turbo boost than an air compressor. You need huge tanks to get any useful storage with that little pressure differential. Well, I was saying a Rat could drive an electric pump, but yeah, that theory went out the window when we saw the big APU in the front, which is why this thing looks like a flying slice of cheese from the side. This is super cool, Josh. Really neat stuff. Huh. Autopilot controls the AFC effector valve precisely. Whoa. That is some trippy stuff, dude. That's some trippy stuff, man. Super cool. It looks like it still has rudders. Yeah, bleed air is, yeah, much more mechanically simple than actuators, than flight, than deflection. It's gonna pack one heck of a payload. Cool. You know what, Amanda? I'm cool with just resurrecting all of our crazy Cold War projects. Are you cool with that? I'm cool with that. Just requires active power at all times. That's what I'm talking about, dude. That APU's got to be on all the time. Your APU is going to be on. There's a trade-off here. The trade-off is that it's going to be on. So it lacks mechanical complexity, but it's going to eat more fuel. CL1201 next. Don't do that. Don't give me hope. Why is the X40 the prototype for the X37? I don't know. Yeah, can we just... Yeah, we should bring back the CL1201. That's a good idea. Anyway, good bit of space news there, Josh. Thanks for linking that up. That's super cool. X33 revival incoming. Composite tank structures are we have a lot more experience with composite tank structure design. With that being said, Nova, if I was going to make an X33 nowadays, I would not be using a bilobe tank design. No. Bilobe, no. I would not do that. I will draw you how I would make the tanks. So at the front, you'd still have your common dome. Well, this is from the top. The front, you'd still have your common dome, but this thing would be shaped like this. It wouldn't be a bilobe design with domes back here and back here. The whole back of this thing would be a dome. Think Stokes second stage. That's what I would do. But from the front, it would look like this. It is a complicated shape, no doubt. It would look something like that. It would kind of look like a slice of cheese, almost. But then again, the X33 looks like a slice of cheese too, so it makes sense. You could do that with composite nowadays. You could absolutely do that. You could make that shape with composites. With the extra aerodynamic efficiency of the control systems produce a net increase in fuel economy even with the APU. It's possible, sure. An AFP could make that easily. That's what I'm saying, Cyborg. You want to resurrect that project, dude? Let's do it. In fact, Cyborg, you know what we do? We make an HPR X33 and do the suborbital hop with it. But like 1/8 the size. Edge, what'd you do? You pissed off Nightbot. Oh, that thing. Jeez, NASA must have ordered several for their launch system. Yeah. Yeah. You can send it. You got permit. You got permitting, Tej. Go ahead, send it up. And hobby liquids are pretty common nowadays. I mean, Cyborg, is it possible to use small-scale hobby engines to make a linear aerospike? I think we could do it. Starbase delivery. This is Jordan Guidry took this picture. What is that, Mutter? Would a Methalox Aerospike work for the X-33? It's possible, but Hydrolox would probably be, Hydrolox would probably be my thing of choice. This is Jordan Guidry from What About It. This part was seen being delivered to Starbase on that really, really nice lowboy trailer. Holy crap. That looks like a hood for something. Maybe the SQD hood, perhaps. Why does stuff say classified even after years? Example, the IFF on the F4 Phantom is still classified. Serge, long story short, it might be relevant to IFF, US IFF systems, even by today's standards. Either that or it might not be. You don't know. That's the thing about ITAR, Serge. They never, the Department of Defense or the Department of War, whatever the hell you want to call it, they don't really specify. There's no manual for what is and isn't ITAR. What is and isn't export controlled or top secret or whatever. Well, there is for top secret. That's different. They're really, there's not like a manual on it, so to speak. So the only way you really fully understand what is and isn't ITAR is if you know about this stuff. Like, dude, I know a lot about rockets. I can use pretty good intuition here to understand what you should and shouldn't talk about. But I'm not, you never say like, oh, that's ITAR. Oh, you don't talk about that. You know what I mean? So the F4 Phantoms identification friend or foe systems, the IFF systems on an F4 might still be classified today, but they might be classified not because we still use it, but they could be classified because they want to throw people off the trail. It's possible. Everything is ITAR until you told in triplicate it's not. Yes, John, I'm extremely careful about what I talk about here, like what's public and what's not, in terms of like rocket engines. I try not to get insider information, guys. I don't do that. I don't like doing it because I don't like vague posting. That's lame. I don't do that stuff. I don't like being like, oh man, you guys, I can't wait to show you guys. I can't talk about it right now. I don't like doing that crap. And Cyborg, that's not the type of aerospike that I was talking about. Yeah. So, Cyborg, I'm talking about taking a bunch of small liquid fuel engines. Like if there is an off-the-shelf liquid fuel engine that's tiny, right? Taking a bunch of those and making a linear aerospike out of it. You know why I want to do that, Cyborg? Because you'd have 1,000 people saying that's the dumbest idea ever. And then we do it. And then it's awesome. See what I'm saying? Yeah, I know that thing. It's a doohickey. Shh, you're not allowed to talk about that. Use the engines that Dragon uses. Dracos? Yeah, Dracos aren't really designed for constant firing like that. They need pulse width modulation to operate correctly or else they won't stay cool. Not linear, but... well, so Sea Kraken, that's the idea. Has anybody ever tried to do that? Take some off-the-shelf liquid fuel engines? Like some HPR engines and do that? Is there any off-the-shelf liquid fuel engines that do that? I don't think there is. Ohms? Nah, that's a pressure. That's not the type of engine we're looking for, dude. And even then, it's hypergolic. I'm not screwing around with that. All right, guys. I'd say that's a good amount of space news. 2 hour 15 on the space news today. We covered a lot of ground, talked about a bunch of cool things. What about Rutherford engines? I highly doubt Peter Beck would contribute to my passion project. You could probably modify a couple of half-cat rocket engines to do that. Oh yeah, probably. I only see weight as an issue at the hobby scale. Although you could probably do 3D printed linear aerospike now that could keep the weight down at this size. Yeah, dry mass would be a big pain in the butt. Like I said, Cyborg, if we're gonna do this as a hobby, we're gonna do it. How cool would it be to have like a 1/3, not a 1/3 scale, like let's say 1/24th scale, like X33 or something, and just right, and then remote control fly that thing like RC first person FPV drone, fly that thing down and land it on a runway. How cool would that actually be? Like I said, you'd get 1,000 people saying that's the dumbest thing ever, and I'd be like, yeah, I know, dude. I'm not doing it because it's some technologically advanced thing. I'm doing it because it's freaking cool, you know? Since you're done with space news, Harbaugh's out. I got a message. Yeah. You were going to take a closer look at this, no? No, I wasn't. You wanted me to. I'll look at it off stream, John. Thank you. Have you mentioned the new space telescope being placed at L2? Is that Nancy Roman, Alan? Yeah, it got funded. The minibus bill funded it. Mm-hmm. I'm for it, and we could have a field we could use to fly it. All right. If a range officer allows that first try, I will personally send a $100 bill to the P.O. box. See, Kraken, what do you think? What do you think? I would just go and sit there and, with all those systems untested before I brought it to a high-powered rocketry range? Think I would just dick around with that? Just additional thought: Venture Star with RDEs instead of aerospikes. Aqualex, hold my Kerbal snacks. They have started allowing liquids at Tripoli launches, although on nitrous alcohol currently, they don't like cryo yet. I don't see why that wouldn't work, dude. I just don't really understand why. But also, look pretty cool. Think that's possible, fellas? A linear aerospike rotating detonation engine? Because RDEs by design are an annular aerospike. You're going to bother the frick out of a bunch of space nerds with that nomenclature, though. Yeah, I know. Is this the size you're talking about? They put this up at Pima. Probably smaller than that, dude. No. Cyborg, I'm talking about something that's maybe 10 feet tall. Maybe 10 feet, about 3 meters tall. Like, yeah, not a big one. And then just, and then have it, lifting body, right? Have it come down and land. Like I said, it it serves no purpose other than that's really freaking cool. That's about it. Squig, hey, I'm looking to pop my rocket launch cherry at Artemis 2. I have a room in Titusville and one in Cape Canaveral. Which should I stay at? Any other advice? Sorry for the topic. Okay. Titusville is going to be a lot of traffic. You probably, where in Cape Canaveral, Squig? Just say the hotel. It doesn't matter. It's going to be packed anyway. Which hotel are we talking about here? Yes, that, Alucard. I love that. Sea Kraken, that's amazing. We'd have to build stuff like that to get it to work. It's an apartment rental in Cape Actual. Oh, it's an apartment rental. Is it on Merritt Island? By accident, really, they'd have to have the center body, so why not spike it? Face it, I see no reason why it wouldn't work. There may be complications with the straight section, as it's probable that, yeah, that's what I mean. Coming off the curve, Aqualex could blow out the candle, so to speak. Just south of Port Canaveral. Okay. Titusville would probably be better. If you're down in Port Canaveral, like in Cocoa Beach or Satellite Beach or something, that's a long way away, dude. That's it's like 15 miles from Kennedy Space Center. I would say stay in Titusville, and whatever you do, wherever you're planning on scoping this thing out, get there early. Artemis 2 is going to be packed. It's going to be the busiest the Cape has been in a very long time. Probably the busiest since, I would say, STS-135. Oh, page 53. Okay. But we looked at that part on the stream, Zach. Thank you. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. There's funding for Dragonfly on there, Da Vinci, Nancy Roman, James Webb, Hubble. We're good. You think Mars Sample Return being canceled is actually reasonable? You guys got to remember, Mars Sample Return is not Mars Sample Return. That's not MSR. It's not. It's planning. The Mars Sample Return program right now is a committee to plan for how you're going to do Mars Sample Return when you try to do Mars Sample Return. It's not Mars Sample Return. It's planning for Mars Sample Return. I'm serious. That program is sapping up money. A program that's carrying a budget of a Mars Sample Return, but it's actually not going to return anything. Current MSR right now is planning for Mars Sample Return. It's a ruse, dude. They named it that on purpose. So if somebody comes along and says, let's cancel Mars Sample Return because it's a dumb idea, they'll say, like, oh, you want to cancel Mars Sample Return? Yeah, they named it that on purpose. That was done like that on purpose. Do not be fooled. Mars Sample Return is not Mars Sample Return. It's just, it's basically paying a bunch of people to think about how you're going to do Mars Sample Return. Go look it up if you don't believe me. Cancel it. Get rid of it. planning for the planning of the program. No, that crap needs to stay in the past. We don't do that. That's not wumbo maxing. That's not very wumbo chilling, okay? Yeah, don't be fooled. Don't forget Bill Nelson killed Mars sample return. Yeah, he killed Mars sample return and placed it with a plan for Mars sample return. Get out. Instead of actually fixing the program, he made a committee to plan on how to fix the program and then canceled the program. Can you see why I don't like Bill Nelson? I don't like him. Not that small. Sea Kraken. But that is cool. It's a concept for a plan. Yes. It is so ridiculously bureaucratically overloaded that it needs to be canceled. It's not Mars sample return, dudes. At this point, it's going to be faster and cheaper to send a person with a shovel. Yes, that's the idea. All right, guys, we're getting a little too much into the weeds. I'm going to stop Space News for now, and we will switch over back to my winter car. Let's do part 8 of winter car and go from there. On the YouTube side of things, stand by for loss of signal as expected. Thank you for watching this Space News. I will jog the YouTube VOD for the next part for my winter car. On Twitch, just chill here. Let's jump back into winter car. See you guys in a second. Thank you.